Hello, fellow goldfishes.
Oh my god.
That's what I'm gonna start calling our podcast people.
Not a good start.
So this isn't a real I'm a Goldfish podcast. This is actually a podcast we filmed about a year ago. We filmed it November 25th, 2015. This was with our cousin Willow, which you heard us talk about briefly in the first episode of our podcast. But we did 2 episodes of the podcast called Once a Year podcast. Remember doing that, Taylor?
Mhm.
I just wanted you to at least say something.
Yes.
But yeah, so we filmed this about a year ago. It starts off us talking about us filming a Forefront Mafia video, the condom challenge that we did, which was pretty fun. It was a failure, but if you want to go check that out, go to Forefront Mafia on YouTube, and you can watch that. But so this podcast, we talk about our adventure of getting that done because we had to go to several stores to find a right condom to, not the right condom, to buy any condom
Yeah.
to be able to do the challenge. But so then when that part of the podcast is done, then we talk about Willow's relationship with one of my friends. She was 13 years old. He was older.
We're gonna talk about that.
But we'll let you hear that from us about a year ago. But yeah, so there you go. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome to the Once a Year podcast. I'm Jerome.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Willow.
I'm Jackson.
Now Jackson is our guest today. He won't be on the show usually. The show will be me, Taylor, and Willow usually.
He's our guest.
He's on it at the moment because he's over at our house.
Oh, that is. He's our
That
guest.
sounds very
He was
dickish,
involved
but
with the story.
Yeah, he's involved with our story for today. But our story today is our condom video, Taylor.
Oh, okay.
She's looking at me like I'm a fucking weirdo.
Did you put that in the video
With the condom?
to check out the podcast?
Oh no! Oh, we can redo that end part to do our podcast stuff, all that. I forgot about that. All right. So who wants to start off the story of our condom video for today?
Taylor?
What? I don't start it.
Well, you started because you were in the video mostly. It's just me dropping a condom on your head. So talk about what kind of troubles did we have today? Try to get a fucking condom on your head.
Well, we didn't know how big the condom was supposed to be, like how much water we had to fill it
Yeah,
up
that was
with.
the biggest. I think we were putting every time either
Too
not
little?
enough or too much to where I
Yeah.
couldn't hold it.
Yeah. And then, like, it got too heavy for you to lift it higher.
Yeah, like there's a
So-
couple times in the video where I'm holding it with my arm and like I'm just holding it like a retard and I can't drop it on you.
It's so funny to me. Both of you just like mimed things.
Yeah, I know.
As you're saying.
We're miming things, but no one can see us. This is an audio podcast. Okay, so then after Jackson's waving to the no crowd we have. Okay, so then after we did the whole thing wrong, both condoms broke.
We finally figured out that, because he was standing in the
I was standing,
first few
yeah, I
clips,
was standing to
he
the
was
side of Willow.
And then we watched a video to see what we were doing wrong, and then we realized he needs to be behind us. So we moved bathrooms.
And then the second we got in the other bathroom, you'll see there's like a 10-second clip of me fumbling around with it, and it just pops on her face and all over my pants. It was terrible.
I thought it was really funny at one part too because you just had it opened and it was just spewing out water
Oh,
and it was hitting
yeah.
right at Willow.
So then that popped. So we're like, fuck. So we got all ready, and we decided to go and buy more condoms. So we went to Circle K. And Circle K... Circle Clay.
Circle Clay.
Dude, it's so clay.
Circle K was temporarily closed for 10 minutes. I don't
And
know who the fuck... I think that lady was having sex with someone that we got the condoms from.
And
Possible.
but as we were leaving, there was these 2 people there getting gas, and there was like this
Yeah,
lady.
she had like a giant ass wrench. The biggest wrench I've ever seen in my
It wasn't
life.
a wrench. It was those things that you used to wipe down your window.
Oh.
I don't know. It looked like a wrench to me. It was scary.
And
I don't know
she
what kind of wrench
She
you
was
see.
talking, and only Taylor understood her. I was so freaked out. I was like,
I
"Oh,
thought
Yeah,
she was gonna beat
she-
my ass.
She was like, don't you kids, go to like TP houses
Yeah,
or
I heard-
break windows or whatever,
Taylor
and
told
she's
us
like,
rape windows. I don't know how
I
that works.
said break, and then she's like, or if you do, don't get caught.
Yeah.
But she had like this really weird accent that was like, they didn't understand. And both of them were like, just looking at each other like, what is she saying? And they're like saying this, meanwhile she's like staring at us.
I
So
don't know.
was like,
I thought...
yeah.
She
For a
looked
second,
really
I
scary
thought-
because, like, with that thing in her hand, I thought she was gonna like fucking try to kill
Fight.
us.
I thought she
did
was gonna
look
kill me
scary
with her
looking.
wrench. Then I thought it was a wrench, but apparently she was just cleaning her car. So then we leave from Circle K, walk all the way over to QT, which is probably like a 5-minute walk from there. We get
All
to
the way.
yeah, all the way. We get to QT. They stayed outside. I went inside, looked all over.
In the meantime, when you guys were in the store, everybody walking
Oh,
out
yep.
stared at us. Like, everybody
Like
was
we
like,
were gonna like go rob the place.
Yeah.
Like
That's
they were
funny.
very concerned.
Okay, so me and Jackson are inside. I looked all over the medicine area.
I couldn't find the condoms. So we leave there, went to Walmart, where this fucking guy made fun of me for coughing.
It was so weird. Jerome was like, and then the guy walks by and he's like, okay,
That was a dick. So we completely forgot that it was Black Friday. So we're in Walmart. Walmart was crazy. So we're like, yeah, screw this. We're not going to get condoms. I don't want to spend an hour in here trying to get condoms, even though it's taking us an hour to get condoms now anyways.
Yeah.
So then we go from Walmart back to Circle K, walk in there, and then we figure out we have to ask later for condoms. And this is where I chicken out, and this is where they take over and buy condoms.
So Jerome was like, it's okay, you guys can just buy the condoms. Or, well, at first it was just going to be me, but then they were like, no, we shouldn't leave her in the store alone. So Taylor was with me, and now the condoms, like, you had to, like, take the little strip of paper and, like, give it to her and be like, I need these condoms. And so we were
You seem pretty experienced by that, because I didn't get that at all from what we were looking at.
Yeah. I
I
was
just thought it was...
I didn't know what
like-
was there. You like, we have to ask her, and I was like, well, fuck that.
Well, because I just saw the little paper, and it said on the paper, ask at the counter.
So Willow reads. We just
we just were like, huh?
Okay.
And so me and Taylor are standing in line, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of condoms we should get.
Yeah.
And
we literally
I still want
like,
that banana scented kind.
Yeah, and we
Banana.
were at the end of the line, so I wasn't gonna be too embarrassed, like, asking for condoms, but then, like, 50 people walked in, and we were like, okay.
Right behind it.
So we were just, like, sitting there, and I was like, and meanwhile, so we already did the condom challenge.
Yeah, we did it like maybe 10, 15 times at
And
this
I'm
point
wearing
before we left.
a sweatshirt, flip-flops, sweatpants, and my makeup's all messed up, and my hair
Yeah,
is
her
all ratty.
makeup
She
was
looked
all
like
like
a
under
raccoon.
messed up under her eyes. She looked like she just got banged a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I look like a crack whore. And so
Speaking of crack whores, while they were inside asking for the condoms, me and Jackson were waiting outside. And we were waiting outside for a few minutes, and there was some weird people walked out and looked at us. But then we're sitting there, and this fucking weird crackhead would look like a diaper bag with her walks up to us, and she's like licking her lips like, how old are you guys? And I was like, what? And she goes, how old are you two? And I was like, I'm 20. And she goes, you old enough to buy me a beer? And I wanted to be like, well, can you do math? Because I'm 20, so. But I was just like, no, I can't. And she was like, oh, well, fuck you then. What are you doing here? And I was like, I'm waiting for my friends. And she's like, there's nobody in the store.
And it's
So then
packed.
I
There's
was-
like 50
There
people.
was like 50 people in the store. So I was like, oh, there's people in the store. And she goes, yeah, I got something right here. And smacked her bag and walked away to the next people walking down the store. I was like, holy fuck, let me just get out of here.
And so me and Taylor finally get up to the counter, and, like, I wanted to be as quiet as possible, like, and so I was like, do you guys have condoms? Or no, I was like, I need condoms. And she was like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what kind? And I was like, it doesn't really matter. And she, like, gave me this look and was like, it does matter. It matters. And so I was like, it's just for a video. And then she was like, oh, a video. And I was
Well, I was
like,
making a sex tape.
and I was like, no, not that kind of video. And she was like, okay. And she, like, put it in the bag. And then, like, I paid for them. And then she, as I'm leaving the store, she's like, be safe. And I, like, screams it so everyone can hear it. And I was like, oh my God. And then, meanwhile, I have, like, $10 and change in my hand. And Jerome's like...
Yeah, she's walking in the store like, it looks like she's waving around the money. I was like, Willow, look, the lady wanted money. Just get out of here. She's like, what? I was like, that lady wanted money. And we walk away, and then I told them the story about it. So then we get home after that. Willow changes. We open up the new condoms, fill it up a couple more times. It worked almost, like, 5 times. Kept going, like, half around her head, and then just shooting off. So then, but every time it would shoot off, it would land out of the bathtub and just fill the entire bathtub with water.
Floor is like flooded.
So we flooded the bathtub a couple times. So we decided, yeah, we're gonna end this video. It was a big fail. Which every time we do a challenge video, it ends up being a fail.
Yeah. It looks really
We're not
cool in
we're
the
not
other
usually
videos.
good at challenging or doing people's challenges. Like
But
when
we do almost all of
like,
them.
Yeah, we attempt.
me and Mauser did the Capri Sun challenge, and I completely vomited, and he just sat there and looked at me.
And then
But,
didn't finish his.
Yeah. What other challenges have we done? We've done a couple other challenges, and we did the rubber band challenge with the watermelons.
Water balloon.
Or water balloons. That would have probably worked better.
Yeah.
We did it with the watermelons, and
I was
it
the
didn't pop.
closest on that.
We ended up throwing them at the wall because that failed. Literally every video we do the challenge, I have to type ... fail. So obnoxious. Alright, so the next story we're going to tell is the story of when me and Mauser went to his ex-girlfriend Willow, my cousin, went to her school, and I happened to moon them. This was a 2-day thing. Sorry. The first day, I was watching my grandma's house, and he came over to me. Willow's miming the whole thing, by the way. He came over to my house, and he was like... not my house, sorry. Came to my grandma's house, and he's like, "Hey, Jerome." That's really distracting.
No, he's
I can't talk.
Tumbling on his way.
He said, "Oh, do you want to go over to Willow's school and say hi to her?" I was like, "What the fuck? Why would we go to her school and say hi?" And he's like, "I don't know. It'll be funny, and we'll play loud music and drive by."
Ooh.
So I was like, "Oh, whatever. Okay, he's my friend. Whatever." I was bored anyways.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
he's texting me. He got mad because so he was like 17, I think. I don't know.
He was 16 or 17 at the time.
And I was like 12, literally like 12.
Yeah,
I was 12.
she was 12 or 13. Yeah.
And no, I was 12.
Sorry.
and then I was just about to turn 13 though. Yeah. Okay, but
And
then people from my school found out because I told my best friend that me and him kissed. And then people from my school found out, were like, "Oh my god, you're such a whore, like that's so creepy that like he's 17." I was like,
by the way, people at our school calling her a whore and finding out everything about her life was like a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Like every week she's like, "Oh my god, my school found out about like
no,
me."
that's how it started. This is how this whole whore reputation started. I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
Taking it all the way back to 7th grade.
Oh my god.
So you're saying it's Mauser's fault that your entire school thinks you're a whore?
Yes. Well, I mean, or my fault because my whole entire school finds out.
Yeah, that's true.
But so yeah, and this kid from my school found him on Facebook and was
Jackson, what the fuck are you doing?
Sorry.
You're trying to tell a story. Quit moving around.
And he was like, messaged him and he was like, "You're so weird, like you're a child molester, pedophile, blah blah blah." And he got mad.
Oh
So-
yeah. Okay, sorry. That's part of the story too. After, no, I forgot.
Duh.
This is part of the beginning part too. He said that we're also gonna go there to beat the shit out of these kids, but he didn't say because that they were Well, he said beat the shit out of scare is one of those, but he did.
They're so similar.
He didn't tell me that we were going. That they were like 12-year-olds. He told me he was driving down the street in by this certain school. And the kids flipped him off or something. And I was like, well, why do you care that much? He's like, well, because they did that to me. And I was like, okay. The whole situation was weird. He was lying to me the entire time about it. So then we end up driving. And he's like, do you recognize this area? And I was like, no, not really. Why? And he's like, this is Willow School. And I was like, well, okay. So then we drive by playing really loud music. And I was like, well, how is that going to scare the kids or whatever? But we drive by playing really loud music. And it was like a zombie invasion. All the kids rushed to the fence. And we're jumping and jangling on the fence. Like, oh my god. And they were shaking it. So we drove by and we were playing some song. And it was like, suck my dick. Suck my motherfucking dick. So then we were playing that and we drove by. And then we did that twice. We just left. That was the first day. We did it in his red truck.
And my school was like freaking out and they were like, we need to get their license plate. Like, who are those people? Why are they doing this? And I just kept my mouth shut. I was like, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not trying to get in trouble
Kept
for
your
this.
mouth shut for the first time in your life.
Oh.
Oh god, I think I just broke Willow. Alright. So she kept her mouth shut. But she did text us, and it's like, oh my god, my school put out a thing, So then, the next day he came over, he's like, let's go back. And this time you should moon them. And I was like, well, you're a fucking genius. That'd be hilarious.
Oh my god, that's not what I thought that was gonna be.
I didn't think anything of it. I thought it would moon them or whatever, and it'd be fine. So we drive by the first time, I stand out of my... oh, by the way, we stole my grandmother's car to do this. She still wasn't home. I'm watching her house. We steal her car. We drive to the school. I go out of the sunroof. And I flash my I don't have tits, but I flash my man titties to them. And Willow was like, I text Willow that I'm going to flash to the school. And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, well, she doesn't think it's funny, but she will when it happens. So I flashed my tits. And then got a roar from the people that sounded like they loved it. So I was like, all right. So he quickly spins a U-E. We roll down the window. I pull down my pants. My ass is hanging out the window. We driving by. My ass is hanging out, and we just got out of there. And I was like, fuck yeah, we did it. It was funny. We get home the second we get to my grandma's house again. We started playing video games. Like, we just started the video game. It just started, and I get a text from my dad. Did you go to Willow school today? And I was like, oh my god, my heart sank. And I showed the text to Mauser, and he was like, fuck, tell him no. I was like, he knows. Why would he just all of a sudden say that?
And so, so I'm sitting, like, right after they drove by, I was like, I cannot believe they just did that. And so I told my best friend, well, I didn't even tell my best friend. She kind of already knew because her and Mauser used to text all the time, which is...
They did for, like, months after this, too.
Yeah. And so he told her, the same girl that told everybody that we kissed, so, of course, she's going to blab. So she told someone...
I don't know why you would tell her again.
Yeah.
I didn't. It was Mauser.
Oh.
And so...
I heard that part wrong.
And then she told this girl Kayla, I don't even care. But this girl Kayla told the office because the office was like freaking out and was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe these teenage boys were be this stupid and do something like this."
What's stupid is Mauser's whole thing is like they're like, "Oh my god, these two boys from the school." He's like, "Well, I was driving, so how do they expect me to get my ass out of the car?" They were just saying that because you were with me when I mooned them.
Yeah.
And so I go back to class, and I guess she went up to the office and told, and I'm sitting in class, you know, I'm freaking out because I feel like I'm gonna somehow get in trouble for this, and
because you usually do. Remember the pickle jar?
Oh my god.
And so I am sitting in class, and then a police officer walks in to my 5th hour, and he was like, "I need Willow Addison," and I was like,
I don't know who that is.
Fuck. And then my teacher, everyone turns and looks at me, and I was like, no. And so he was like, "Grab all your stuff and come with me," and I was like, fuck. And so I grab all my stuff and I go with him, and in the meantime I'm like deleting everything off of my phone because I know my parents are gonna fucking kill me. So
just take out your battery, start smashing your phone, throw it in the garbage.
I was like deleting all my text messages because like, what if they're like, "Let me see your phone?"
Yeah,
so I was like,
and they see like everything with Mauser.
I was like, just
gotta
fucking...
delete all your booty pics, all your tit pics.
Okay, I was 12. And so
so you deleted all your booty pics.
And so I like freaked out, and then I get up to the office, and I was like, in my head I was like, just deny everything, just deny it, just like they can't do anything if you just deny it. And so I go into the office, and there's like another police officer there, and he has like this report thing out, and I sit down, and they were like, "So did you see what happened today at lunch?" And I was like,
like, "Oh no, I was just eating."
It's like, "Are you referring to the people who drove by?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I happened to see that." And he was like, "Well, sources tell me that you know who was driving the car." And I was like, I was like, "No." And then the police officer was like, "Don't lie to me." And I was like, "Oh, fuck."
Okay, it was Jerome.
I was like, don't. I was like, "Okay." The person driving the car, and I was like, "Yeah." And they didn't ask me who stuck their ass out the window. They just asked me who was driving the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were like, "What school does he go to? Why wasn't he in school? Like, what was he doing? Blah, blah, blah." And then he was like, "Is this guy Does this guy happen to be 17? And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Is he your boyfriend?" And I was like, "Ah, fuck." And like, we're like secretly dating. Nobody in our family's allowed to know because like I'm fucking 12 and he's 17.
Yeah, and this
they're best friends.
Let everybody know.
Yeah.
Him wanting me to show my ass ruined their relationship and pretty much our friendship.
And so thanks. So so the principal's like, "Okay, I'm gonna call your mom, and she's gonna have to come down here, and we're gonna talk to her." And I was like, ugh. So she calls my mom. She's like, "Hey, I have your daughter Willow Addison in here with me with the Glendale Police Department."
You know, I've heard this a lot lately.
Yeah.
And so she like she like freaks out. She's like, what the fuck? They're like, you need to come down here. We just need to talk to you about something that happened. And she was like, no, my husband's gonna be there in 20 minutes. Like, blah blah blah. Fuck you guys. And no joke, my dad was in there in less than like 30 seconds. Like, I'm not even kidding. The second she hung up, I saw my dad's truck right there, and I was like, and so I started crying. And my principal was like, okay, I'm gonna have you tell him that you're dating this guy. And I was like, okay, there's still no problem here. I can just be like, I didn't know they were gonna drive by, and I'll tell him he's my boyfriend later at home. Just never tell him. And so I get there, and my dad walks in, and he looks so pissed. And he sits down, he's like, what happened? And then they told him, and my dad was just like looking at me, and I was like, I didn't know they were gonna do this. Like, I had no part in this. I didn't know. And then my dad like started to believe me. He was like, all right, you know, like, Jerome and Mauser are pretty dumb. Like, sounds about right.
We are pretty dumb.
He's like, I'm sorry, like, this will never happen again. I'll talk to him. Maybe you guys should just like go down there and scare them. And so we were just like getting like almost out the door. And then my principal goes, wait, you need to tell him one more thing. And I was like,
nope, I think I told him everything.
I was like, nah, fam, like, I don't. And he's like, go ahead, tell him. And I was like, Dad? He goes, yeah. I was like, Mauser's my boyfriend. And he was like, no, he's not. And I was like, see, problem solved. He's not. So now if we can all just go. And he's like, no, he's not. He's 17. What the? And freaks out. And I was just like,
as a normal parent would.
And I was like, all right, Dad, like, it's cool. And he's like, I don't want you talking to him ever again. I don't want you seeing him ever again. And that's what he always goes to when something bad happens. Like, ugh. And so I was like, okay, like, yeah, like, I respect that, blah, blah, blah. And so then I guess he called your dad, and then your dad called you.
And my dad called me, and I got an ass eaten from the ear.
And so,
I don't know. Worded that weird.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. And my dad called me after your dad called him. And he started telling me, he's like, oh my god, you guys went and mooned, blah, 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 and you stole Mima's car, and just yelling at me. And I was like freaking out. And he's like, and now the cops are involved. You guys are going to be, what's it called?
Registered sex
offenders, all this stuff. And he's like, all right, well, I got to talk to Jamie. Goodbye. And he hung out with me and just left me with that. And I was like, Mauser, well, that's my dad. And he said that we could be sex offenders. I was like freaking out. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, apparently showing your ass to a bunch of kids isn't a good thing. And he's like, you guys can be virtual. And like, we were freaking out with this. And then Willow's like, oh yeah, they're gonna bring the cops over there to scare you. So we're like, oh, but then we're not gonna get scared. And like, we're like, Mauser's like, wait, what if I just went home? I was like, you can't leave me here while the cops are gonna come. So he waited till like 6 o'clock. The cops didn't come. And then after that, he left. Then I got another call from my dad. And he goes, all right, well, did you know Willow and Mauser were dating? And I was like, I didn't. I had my suspicions, but I had no idea until now, because he just told me on the phone. So then he's like, all right, well, me and Melissa are talking, and we need you to tell us every time you know they're talking to each other.
You motherfucker.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I can do that to you. So then probably 25 minutes later, I text him, Will and Mauser on the phone. So then all of a sudden he's like, all right. And then Melissa texts me later after that saying, oh, thank you, Jerome, blah, blah, blah. So that's part of the reason I didn't get in any trouble, is because I helped them out. I didn't get this whole entire thing. Only Will and Mauser got in trouble. I didn't get in anything. So I started helping. Then every time they were on the phone, I would tell him, did you just fart? Jackson just like shit his pants in the corner of my bed.
Really? Are you eating?
Wow. Okay, well, back to the story after he crapped his pants. Okay. So then I would text them every single time that they would hang out and all that.
So when I got home, because I got suspended for all of this, they sent me home.
She got suspended for me showing her ass. Me showing my ass. I didn't show her ass.
And so I get home, and my dad was like, give me your phone. And he went straight to my call history.
Oh yeah, because she called Mauser. They were talking on the phone for a while.
It's because we always used to like FaceTime, and my dad would always walk in, and I'd be like, Taylor? Like, and so he saw all my call history, and he was like, what the fuck? And then he
What the fuck?
well, you know how he says it.
Remember today when he said the F word, we started laughing.
What?
What?
No, you don't. Oh my god, whatever.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were putting the dogs in the laundry room, and like our side door was open. He's like, "Wow, the fuck does this door keep on opening?" It was the funniest thing. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
it sounds
And
hilarious.
so it was just the way he said it. But
Yeah.
so he took my phone away, and I was like, "Oh my god, Jerome! Like he's trying to get in trouble with these cops. Like I gotta call him." And I had Mauser's number written down in my bedroom just in case I ever got my phone taken away.
'Cause that's normal.
So I could call him on my home phone. And I guess he already had this planned out that this was gonna happen. And so I called him, and we were talking for a while, but he wouldn't let me like talk to Jerome. And I was like, no, I need to tell him like.
Yeah, he kept saying like I couldn't hear the conversation because they were talking, but he'd be like, "Oh no, you didn't talk to him," and I'd be like, "Who you I didn't know he was even talking to you." I kept saying he was talking to you. And he told me he was talking to his mom for a little while. Like he would not tell me it was you.
Yikes.
Anyway, so and then I was like, just put me on speaker then, and he was like, no, it's fine. Like, what do you need to tell him? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, he's my cousin. Let me talk to him. And then I was like, so that's when I told him, I was like, yeah, my dad knows we're dating. Like, I had to tell. And he's like, why didn't you just deny it? And I was like,
You're like, well, because I told everybody at my school we were dating.
why didn't I?
Well, it is probably too late by then.
Oh,
You can't
no.
be like-
It was because he was like, is he your boyfriend? And I said, no. I was like, no, he's not. And he was like, is he your boyfriend? And I was like, no. And he's like, I'm going to ask you one more time, is he your boyfriend? And I was like, no, he's not my boyfriend. Because, like, we could both get away with that. We'd both deny it until we were fucking dead. And so, even when the cop asked me, I was like, fuck you, I'm not falling for that shit again. No. And then, he's like, then how come people are telling us that he's your boyfriend? And I was like,
And you're like,
people
you're like,
lie.
oh, because I told them. My boyfriend.
I was like, right? I was like,
And they're like, well, why'd you lie to us? You're like, well, I don't know.
I was like, there's no way I could just be like, I don't know, but like, that's not even believable because my parents would be like, yeah, why would they? And so I was like,
Because like, why would people at your school know him?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, he's my boyfriend. And they were like, so you lied to us? And I was like,
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, so and then I told him,
I need to tell you about him coming because like probably like 2-3 weeks after this, me and Taylor came in here to watch a movie, and he pulled up here and started talking about you and like told me about you.
yeah.
This was him telling me about you guys dating, and it was very weird. But I'll tell us after.
but so I told him, and I was like, yeah, my phone's taken away. Like I'm probably like dead. But I didn't think I was gonna.
This was the start. Then years later, every single week
Oh
you get
my
your phone
God.
taken
I
away.
didn't think I was gonna get in that much trouble because they thought that I didn't know, and they were like, so then they started coming up with like these crazy assumptions about shit, and we're like, you've been dating him since we were in Alaska, which was in the
I know,
summer,
they kept talking
and this
about
was in
stuff like that.
February the next
That's
year.
what started what he was talking about.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck no, because, and so I was like, and I was like, no, like, whatever, and they were like, we don't want him being around you or you guys talking. And so, I started, like, using my home phone to call him and stuff, and then I would sneak out of the house to go see him. I would sneak
For us for a second.
well, because I was like, who's gonna be watching this?
Oh.
And then I snuck him into my house to come see me and stuff. And
stuff. What kind of stuff?
And snuck iPads and iPods.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've heard all about that from him, and then also like
I
with,
saw
with
you
his
do it a few
with his
times, too.
current girlfriend Lauren, he got in trouble. Apparently, this happens with every girlfriend. He got in trouble with her parents, so he drove to his grandma's house, got her cell phone, his grandma's cell phone, brought it over to her. Lauren got clothes, tied them together like with a basket, got it out the window, put a phone in the basket, brought it up so then they could FaceTime that night. And the next morning she got her phone back so that she gave the grandma's phone back. That's the kind of stuff he does. Oh, I need to talk to you, sweetie. I love you. You're my Cinderella, baby.
Yeah, and so that reminds me. Did I ever tell you guys when he was in my house and my mom came home?
Oh, and he had to like climb out the window or something?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh
might
my
have, yeah, but
God.
tell us
So
again.
we were like hanging out in my spare bedroom, and then my mom is at football practice with my brother, and then she pulls up, and I was like, oh my God, because like we would get caught every single time because he'd always tell that motherfucker everything, but he thought it was Taylor that was telling
I
everything.
know.
Oh yeah, I got yelled at quite a bit for that.
And so I just stopped talking
Thanks.
to Taylor because
Yeah,
I'm a fucking
he
bitch.
stopped her and Taylor from talking because he'd be like, oh, you don't need to talk to Taylor. Blah, 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 blah. She's bad for you.
I am pretty toxic.
So, and our
Little
friendship
did
will
he
never
know
be the same.
It was me. I don't think he still even knows to
I
this
don't
day
think he
that
knows either.
it was me telling everything.
And
Because
so,
even when he sat me down and he questioned me and he was like, "Are you telling everybody everything?" and I was like, "No."
I wasn't.
And then
I was at the other end of
yeah.
the table on my phone when that was
And I was
happening.
like, "No, I'm
And I was
not."
like,
and
little
then he's like,
did
"Who
he
is?"
know I was right here.
I know, and so I still
Who
didn't
is?
tell him it was
Well, I don't
you.
know. Who's the only people I tell everything to? I tell Taylor. I told Jerome. Must be Taylor. If she says no, then I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I still didn't tell him it was you. I don't think he knows.
But then, so my mom comes home, and I was like, okay, just stay here. Like, stay in this room. Do not fucking leave. Oh, no, that was the time. Jackson was coming
Oh,
upstairs,
God.
and I was going to put him in my bedroom and just keep him in there.
Sounds like a
And,
puppy
like-
or something.
I know.
And so, like,
Stay here, boy.
he gets halfway out, and I hear my brother coming up the stairs. So I elbow him back into the room, and I slam the door shut, and I stood up against it, and I was like, hey, Jack. And he was like, why are you being weird? And I'm like, I'm not. And he was like, okay. And then walks out, and then I go downstairs, and my mom was in and out of the house because she was getting groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, like, he can just sneak out the back. And then, so I walk into the spare bedroom, and I walk in, and I was like, Mauser. Mauser? And so I checked under the bed and in the closet, and I was like,
You're like, oh my God, he disappeared. It's like a magician.
I was like, fuck, like, and then I look, and he's standing on my roof, and I was like, what are you doing? Get your ass back in it. But of course he can't hear me, so I was like, okay, they can't see me, but
She was miming saying it because he's out the window. We can't hear her.
but
Again, she's always miming stuff.
Yeah.
and
We should they should change the name of this to the Mime Podcast.
and he had the screen because he had to pop the screen off to get out in his hand,
He
and
just-
and he
Just standing on the roof of the
and he
screen.
mouthed to me, he was like, I'm going to jump. And I was
I'm
like,
gonna jump.
and I was like, what? Like, no, you're not. Get your
All of a
ass
sudden,
back in
he
here.
just jumps
And
off.
so he jumped off into my lawn, and I was like,
He's dead.
and my mom's trunk is still open because she's still getting groceries. And she,
Imagine if he would have jumped like over her head and she didn't even know.
and I was like, I just looked at him and I was like, oh my God, run. I was just like, run, go. And so he picks up the screen because he didn't even land on 2 feet, like fell and
Of
like
course.
collapsed. And he
gotta
picks
make
up
a
the
show of
screen
it.
and takes off. And the second like he gets past my neighbor's tree to where like I couldn't see him anymore, my mom walks out
Oh my
of
God.
the house. And I was like, oh my God. And then he texted me, well, he called me and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go over to Jerome's house. And like, we're just gonna
Yeah,
act
and
like.
that fucking night. So
yeah.
it was nighttime at this point. We all went for a huge walk, and he was acting so weird. So we get here, and he was like freaking out. And Taylor got a text from you or something, like saying you were in trouble or something. It was
I
some,
called you.
Yeah, she called. So Taylor knew.
Wait, no, that was something else.
Oh, that was walking the dog.
We gotta tell that story
God.
next. But
There's so many
There's
stories
so
with
many
you
parts
guys.
of this.
but this was before
Walking
the whole
dog.
mooning thing.
Yeah,
No, this was after walking the dog, but it was still.
No,
we didn't.
no,
know
no, the whole
yeah, because
mooning
walking
thing
the dog was first because
was a very first
that.
thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah, 'cause
mooning
that's-
was
that's
first.
when we-
The walking
No,
the
it
dog
wasn't.
was-
No, it wasn't because I had my phone when we were walking.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
okay,
I didn't
so
even realize that.
Because
So
they
yeah.
didn't know it was Mauser when you were walking.
yeah, well, my mom did.
Yeah.
So
but she didn't say.
so Mauser wanted to hang out, and I was like, okay, that's. Well, like, I didn't think it was weird because I was like, oh my God, I fucking love you.
Like, oh my God, Master.
Oh, don't do that noise. Ugh.
And so
Give
I.
me your cream, Mauser.
Ew.
That's what happens.
God, if you never said that again, it'd be too soon.
I can't even say it's the first time I've ever said that.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Okay, so I asked my mom if I could take my dog for a walk, and she
You know,
was,
as you did all the time.
and she.
Yeah, she walks him every day.
Well, normally I do like normally take him for a walk.
Actually, that was not something you would do.
And so and Mouser was like, "Oh, let me go with you," and I was like,
You're gonna
"Oh,
drive
okay."
to my house so
And
we can walk
that's
my
when
dog.
he was at the mall with you, and he bought that beanie for me.
because I remember. Okay, so we met him at the mall. I bought some stupid Ghostbusters beanie that I've still never worn to this day. This was like 6 years ago. We get the beanie, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta buy this for somebody," and he bought a fucking Phineas and Ferb, like the
Oh, I saw that
what?
today.
What's the beanie? What?
Perry the Platypus.
He bought a Perry the
Perry?
Perry the Platypus beanie, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta buy this for someone special." And I was like, "All right, fucking,
'Cause
that's
A
stupid.
platypus.
Who
is
buys a
very
beanie for someone that
special.
they like? Whatever, idiot." So we buy those and we leave.
Whatever, idiot.
So then all of a sudden later that day, Willow FaceTimes me and she's like, "Guys, look at this beanie I got." She puts it on and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I think she saw the look on my face and she ended the FaceTime. So I was like, "Taylor, she fucking has the beanie Mouser bought today." And Taylor's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Mouser bought that beanie today at the mall with me." And she's like, "Oh, do you think they're dating?" I was like, "No, I think he's just buying beanies for everybody."
Okay, this is not fully, but like for weeks before that, there was weird things that were happening,
Yeah.
and I told Jerome about it, and I'm like, Willow and Mouse are like totally dating, and I would tell him these, and he's like, "You're just crazy. You're
Yeah.
making like assumptions over like nothing. You're just being
But this was
paranoid."
mostly because I didn't want to hear Taylor talk.
Well, you didn't believe me, and then shit went down.
And so we were walking the dog, and like
You were walking the dog.
stop,
huh?
it sounds dirty to this day. Like I can't ever say it
We
normal.
were walking the dog.
But he
Did you use a
parked
condom?
he parked a few streets down from me, and then I met him there, and he gave me the beanie, and
That's not what I thought you were gonna say. He gave me his weenie.
Oh my god.
and it was really weird because he sprayed it with his cologne.
Yeah, no, you and Taylor fucking smell it like months later, like, "Oh my god, it still smells
I-
like him." You,
Anyway, and so and then we just like we walked to the canal.
no, I was telling her it's gonna hear it. Hold on.
We walked to the canal, and that's where like a part where like nobody can see you that isn't walking, like people driving by can't see you.
Mhm.
And so we were hanging out down there, and then he started holding my hand, and I was like, holy shit, like he's holding my hand.
Like,
No
oh my
fucking
god, he's gonna
way.
bang me.
And then so he's like, okay, let's walk back. And so I'm walking back, and we get to like this part where you turn into my neighborhood, and there's like trees everywhere, and he was walking my dog. He had the leash in his hand, and I saw my dad's truck, and he was like, "Is that your dad?" And I was like, "No, like my parents are home, not because I'm fucking stupid. Like they can't leave
Yeah.
the house when I'm not there." And so I see my mom, and I was like, "Holy shit, it's my mom!" And he's holding my hand and walking the dog, and so he drops the leash and hides behind the tree, and I was like, I just stood there and I just looked at my mom, and she was on the phone with someone, and she was like, "You're fucking dead." And then he was like, "Pick up the leash, pick up the leash, pick up the leash." And then I was like, okay. And so I picked up the leash, and then I just sprinted home. Like I ran as fast as I could, and I thought my mom had already called my dad and was like, "Your fucking daughter's a whore, like she's walking with people."
She's walking dogs with people.
And so I get up into my room and I call Mouser, and I was like freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, what am I gonna tell her?" Like sorry, I wasn't walking with anyone. I didn't know him. He was just some random guy that hid behind a tree when you happen to drive by. Like, and so I was like, "Oh my god, like I'm so fucking dead. Like we're gonna get caught. This is gonna be the end of everything." And he was like, "Just say that you were walking with this guy named Matthew." And I was like, okay. But little did I didn't even think about it. Matthew Mouser, like same name. And so
Yes.
I mean, like it's similar. And so my mom gets home. She calls me downstairs, and she was like, "So, who are you walking with?" And my dad was like, "What? Who are you walking with?" And then I was like, "Matthew." And she was like, "Matthew?" And I was like, "Matthew." And she goes, "Who's that?" And I go, "He goes to my school." And she goes, "What's his last name?" And I was like, "Matthew O'Rourke," because he was someone in my class. So I was like, okay, if she asks, like I could just be like, "Yo, Matthew," like.
Yeah.
And then she goes, my dad goes, okay, next time just tell us. And I was like,
You're like, oh, thank God, it's done.
right? And then my mom was like, and then I go up in my room. She didn't take my phone or anything, and I was like, all right, it's chill, like, we're good. The whole situation's over. And then she comes up to my room. She's like, give me your phone. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I know who you're fucking walking with, and you're lucky I didn't tell your father. And I was like, okay. And then that's when I called Taylor, and I was like, dude, like, I just got caught walking the dog with Mauser.
Yeah.
And then
Which I had no idea what was going on, because she's just like, I got caught walking my dog with Mauser.
So
I was like,
Taylor
what does
told me.
that even
So
mean?
at this point, Mauser doesn't know that we know. So he's coming over to my house, and he was acting very weird.
no, it didn't. He was already there, and then I called you while you guys were.
Well,
No,
it
he was pulling up
Well,
as you were on the phone with Taylor.
No, it's because we were at my grandma's.
Our grandmas.
No, because
Our grandma's. No, we were at our grandma's, and she called me, and I went
'cause she-
straight to the bathroom, and then I come back because we were in the middle of a game, and Mom was just like, "What's happening now? Why is she in trouble?"
That wasn't the time, because
Yeah, it
if
was.
Willow called you after she was walking the dog, Mauser was already at Mima's then.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was already there.
he was already there, because like
Because I called her like a while
yeah,
after.
Oh,
it
like
wasn't
a
right
second.
after.
Oh,
Because then
okay.
I was like, so I left and I went and I answered your call and everything, and like Mauser's in the kitchen, and we were all playing a game, and I was playing the game with him, and I leave, and you tell me all this, and then so I'm like, oh shit, and then so I walk back to the kitchen, and I sit back down, and Mom's like, what happened now? What is she in trouble for now? And she's like,
she's
oh my
opening
God.
her big old mouth.
Yeah, and
yelling
I was like,
everything.
nothing. I was like, she was just talking to me, and I told her I had to go because we had to play a game. And she's like, really? What happened, though? And I was like, you can ask me a whole bunch, but I'm not going to tell you. And then so she keeps texting me, and then Mauser texts me. He's like, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I know, you little weirdo. And then we were playing for a while and everything, and he was just texting me. He's like, you're such a good person for keeping this a secret. Don't tell anybody.
Was that the night that we all went for the walk?
I think that was later. And then, and I look at Mima's phone when she got up, because, like, she had a text. And it's like, it's Melissa texting her, and it was something like, we're never going to let them see each other ever again, or something like that. And I was just like, what? I was like, oh my God, because I saw it. And then when Mima came back, she, like, tried to hide her phone, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, we're all going to die.
And then like I was grounded for a while, and then that's why he started texting Nicole, because I was using Nicole's phone. And then my mom like talked to us about it, and she's like, yeah, it's fine, like I don't care if you come over and walk the dog with her, but just like we just need to like know, and like sometimes you guys can take Jackson, blah blah blah. And then she let it slide, and then that whole school thing happened.
Yeah, and then it got all...
Yeah.
And then we refused to listen to them. We refused to listen to them, so I kept on like talking, and they kept on finding out because somebody.
I don't know who that was.
I have no clue.
Some dickhead. But how long have we been going for now? We've been going for 32 minutes plus the beginning. I think this is good. I think this will be a good first podcast for us.
Should we like do some sort of conclusion?
This is the conclusion. I'm
I was in
concluding
it
right
so
now.
much.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Jackson was a very helpful part.
I-
Well,
Best guest we've had yet.
maybe the only good real rough.
I'm so special. I'm the only one.
Thanks for listening to the Once a Year podcast. Hopefully we will end up doing this more than once a year.
Peace out, bitches.
Thanks, guys, for watching.
No, they didn't watch it, Taylor. They listened to it. Well, I'll keep that in, but thanks for listening to our old podcast.
Excuse me, sir.
Taylor was supposed to be doing this outro, but she
You stole
sucks
it
at it.
from me.
Yeah, she
Since
sucks.
You heard.
But yeah, thanks for listening to it. We're going to be putting up, we only have 2 of these filmed or recorded, whatever. We only have 2 of these podcasts, but these will be going up in between the real episodes of I'm a Goldfish podcast. And then maybe here and there we'll do like little short audio clips on here. I don't know. But this is kind of just our podcast channel to mess around with. But if you liked listening to this Once a Year podcast and you want to hear more of me and Taylor, you could go to therealplika.com and you could listen to more stuff from Plika or from me and Taylor, or go to 4 for Mafia on YouTube, or just search up Plika, 4 for Mafia, or I'm a Goldfish on any platform where there's video and audio, and you'll probably find us on there. And I believe this podcast is on iTunes now, too, so you could go listen to this on iTunes if you prefer that, or you can go to Spreaker or SoundCloud, or go watch us on YouTube and subscribe there, or whatever. We're all over the place. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next time for another I'm a Goldfish podcast.